Imagine you're sitting on your porch on a quiet summer evening. A mosquito lands on your arm. To you, this is a minor annoyance, a tiny parasite you're about to swat away without a second thought. But have you ever stopped to wonder what you are to it? Does that mosquito see a human being? Does it recognize you as a living, breathing entity with a name and a life? Or are you just a location? People talked before about whether insects are alive in the way we understand it, and even if they can understand the concept of death. But today, we're asking something even more personal. When a fly lands on your forehead or a bee follows you through a garden, do they actually know you exist? The answer is much weirder than yes or no. It's a journey into a world where you aren't a person at all. To an insect, you are a force of nature. To understand if an insect knows you, we first have to understand how they see you. Humans are visual creatures. We recognize faces. But most insects have compound eyes. If you've ever looked at a fly's eye under a microscope, you've seen thousands of tiny lenses called ommatidia. They don't see a high-definition image of your face. Instead, they see a mosaic of movement. To a fly, you aren't a face. You are a series of rapid shifts in light and shadow. You are a looming stimulus. This is why they are so hard to hit. They don't see your hand. They see the world around them suddenly disappearing into a dark, fast-moving void. But it's not just vision. You are also a walking chemical factory. Every time you exhale, you release a plume of carbon dioxide. To a mosquito, this CO2 isn't just air. It's a beacon. They can track the scent of your breath from over 100 feet away. Then, there's your heat. You are a 98-degree thermal mountain in a world that is usually much cooler. When they get close, they see your infrared signature. So, at this stage, do they know you exist? Not really. You're just a heat signature emitting CO2 cloud. You're a destination, like a gas station on a long highway. Until recently, scientists thought this was the end of the story. They believed insects were just biological clocks or little machines reacting to stimuli. But then we found the paper wasp. In a series of fascinating and slightly eerie experiments, researchers found that Polistes fuscatus, the common paper wasp, can actually recognize individual faces. Not just other wasp faces, but they can be trained to recognize human faces. Here is the weird historical detail. For decades, we assumed only higher mammals like primates or crows could do this. But these wasps have a specific part of their tiny brain dedicated to processing the geometry of faces. Why? Because they live in complex societies. They need to know who is a friend, who is a rival, and who is the human who keeps coming near their nest with a broom. If you've ever felt like a specific wasp was targeting you, you might actually be right. To them, you aren't just a landscape. You are a recurring character in their lives. But what about the self? To know someone else exists, you generally need to know that you exist. When a bee dances to tell its hive mates where a flower is, it is communicating a specific location in relation to the sun and itself. It has a sense of its own position in space. When we ask if insects know they're alive, we're looking for that spark of I am. If an insect has a sense of I, then you become the other. To a social insect like an ant or a honeybee, you are a giant other. You are a biological event. They might not know you have a mortgage or a favorite movie, but they know you are an entity that can provide food, like a dropped piece of fruit, or an entity that can destroy their entire world in a single step. So, do they know you exist? For the solitary beetle crawling across your floor, you are likely just a weirdly warm piece of terrain that occasionally moves. You are a mountain that breathes. But for the more complex social insects, the reality is more profound. They recognize your patterns, they sense your heat, they track your chemicals. You are a massive, looming presence in their very short lives. We often look at insects as if they are aliens, but in reality, we are the aliens to them. We are the incomprehensible giants moving through their world. They might not know us as humans, but they certainly know when the giant is near. Next time a fly lands on you, don't just see a pest. Look at those compound eyes and realize that, in its own flickering mosaic way, it's looking back at you.